Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be repairing that Trio sub that is just behind me because 12-year-old me used a screwdriver to undo it and not just your everyday drill, managed to slip and poke a massive hole straight through the surround. So in today's video, we're going to be gluing that from behind with some silicone glue. Alright, so apologies for that slight flickering. You can see it is due to the lights that I'm using for this video, but as I mentioned, 12-year-old me has destroyed the top of this subwoofer right above the Trio logo here. Not that you can really see that in the lighting, but there is a nice hole just in the top there. So I'm going to be using some all-purpose, highly flexible silicone sealant. Make sure it's highly flexible if it's on the surround, because if it is, you're obviously going to be subject to a lot of movement and a lot of vibrations. So you want something that's flexible so it will flex and not just break and crack the moment the sub starts moving. So first of all, we're going to identify where the hole is, which is just there. And then we're going to flip the sub over, go from behind, apply some to our fingers and smudge it right in and make sure it sits there nice and securely. Right, so I'm just going to chuck this in now. I've actually finished recording the video, but I just thought I'd clear this up. If you're putting it on the tip of your finger, just check on the first aid section here that it says, if on skin, wash with soap and water. Make sure it doesn't say do not contact with skin, because something like that could poison or cause a lot of irritation or something. So make sure it just says wash off with soap and water and doesn't say anything against not getting it on your skin. If it does, you can just use some rubber gloves or something. Also, just a quick disclaimer, I ended up sticking the tiniest little bit on the front of the woofer as well, just because some of it was seeping through the hole. So I thought if I did it like that and it dries from both sides, it's probably gonna have a much stronger bond in the end. But anyway, let's go on with the rest of this video. Alright, so unfortunately for video purposes, the spot that I need to get to is right behind this basket spoke right here. So as you can tell, the lighting is terrible and you can't actually see what's happening in there. So I'm going to get some of this all-purpose again and put this on my finger. I'm using manual focus. I don't know why I tried to get that closer then. Put that on my finger. And anyway, once I do that, I'll just rub it in right where the crack is. And make sure you give it about 24 hours to dry once you have done this. This is also just a cheap repair, so I'd highly suggest if you really want massive performance and things from the woofer, I'd actually suggest that you get some foam and stick it on each side that's roughly the same thickness as the surround. But unfortunately for this video, I want to keep the sub looking like it is undamaged, so I'm just going to be applying this glue from behind and hoping for the best. If worst case comes to worst, I'll have to recone this subwoofer. But the idea is to prevent further tearing and air leaks from happening. And I will probably end up blowing this sub by accident. If you know my future plans, these subs are 350 watts RMS a pop. And that's 700 in total because I have two of them. They're going to be hooked up to an amplifier that's going to be pushing like 3K into them. So they'll probably blow, and I'll get a recone kit for them because they have a huge magnet on the back and they're actually really, really well built, made in America. So anyway, let's apply some of this glue to my finger and apply it to the hole, which is just behind that spoke right there. All right, so I'm just gonna puncture the sealer here. So now we can see there is the glue inside. So I'm just gonna apply some of this to the tip of my finger and hopefully rub it nicely into where the hole is in the back of the sub. Of course, these spots are very, very hard to get into, but make sure you apply a lot of glue just to prevent any further wear. All right, so as you can't really see in there, I've applied a very, let me raise this ISO way too high. You can see in there's a very thick layer of glue, and there's an extra big bit just there, right where the hole actually is, just to give it that extra beefy glue. Now we're gonna let this sit for 24 hours at the minimum before we put signal into it. Because the moment you start putting signal into it, you'll start stressing it. And if it isn't dried fully, it will just rip and it'll be a complete waste of time. Also, if you're putting it on your finger like I did, make sure you have a disposable rag, because that stuff gets terrible if it dries on your finger. And also the baskets are very sharp, so just be careful when you're rubbing your finger along the edges here. You may cut yourself. I have a little cut, but nothing too major. But anyway, that's how I'm repairing the surround on the back of this Trio Engineering TSI 15.8 sub. If you're wondering what this is here, that is actually wood from previous boxes. It's been in the paint stuck to the surround of the rubber around the outside here that makes the sub look pretty from the front. But anyway, I'm gonna let that glue in there dry. Hopefully the sub will work a treat. That actually went on a lot nicer than the first glue I did on the other sub when I did the exact same idiotic thing. But nevertheless, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, you know what to do. Chuck a like on the video, subscribe to my channel down below. Also, make sure you follow me on Instagram and Snapchat. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video.